Hello, and welcome to another episode of Ask the Wizard, streaming live for September the 12th. What my 4'8" martial arts instructor taught me about real power. Interesting topic. Is somewhat controversial, I suppose, but this is what I've discovered about real or true power. All right, starting the 5-minute counter. Now, teaching topic in 5 minutes. Grab a coffee. Get comfortable, and we'll see you in 5. Ask the Wizard, streaming live on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, audio on Spotify as well. All right, guys, be back. Hey Rhonda, how you doing? Good to see you again. Thanks for watching. I'll be back. 1 minute, just about there. let's try this. Let's try that button. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ask the Wizard streaming live for September the 12th. Trying some new coffee, actually, today. Let me just turn this up. And the Keurig, what is it? McDonald's Espresso X. Espresso. It's actually pretty good. This was let me think. This was before I actually, as I often will refer to it, or one of the ways I refer to it is that I woke up. Let me do this. Hold on just a second here. I'm going to play around with something. If I can. If not, I won't worry about it. I'm going to turn this down just a little bit. Just a little bit like that. There we go. Camera was a little hot. This was before I woke up. So this would have been, wow, the spring of 2004. Now, I took martial arts, but for a very short period of time, okay? And I'm not sure whether my teacher was, what did I say, 4 foot 8 inches tall, but he was Chinese. I mean, everybody's short to me, but, and he was very small. I don't know, weighed 100 pounds maybe kind of thing. And he was an acupuncturist and tons of skills and credentials and things like that. And I remember it was an exercise. And so he would sort of challenge somebody to push him over. So he would stand there and because of course, being an acupuncturist, he was all about energy and understanding that martial arts, and he also taught and practiced Tai Chi and who knows what else, was all about moving energy. It wasn't about strength per se. And the one I remember specifically, I can't remember the fellow's name. He's about my size, and he probably had 20, 30 pounds on me. And so Dr. Wu, Kenneth Wu was the guy's name. And so he would stand there, and he would hold his arm up about like that. Because, I mean, here's him and here's this other guy, right? Probably twice his weight of thing. So he would hold his arm up. But it's interesting, he wouldn't hold it like this. He would just kind of hold his arm up. Very relaxed, right? Just hold his arm up. And then he would ask this fella to push him over. Well, of course, this guy would be just pushing like a son of a gun. And Dr. Wu was sitting there like this, just, chilling out. And he would kind of move a little bit like this, but that's it. And his arm would move a little bit, but that's it. He wasn't pushing back. He didn't grounding, like really standing strong. Hey, James, how you doing? He wasn't really just got my footing. You're not going to push me over. He was just like, he was chilling. And this other guy is pushing and pushing and pushing, and he just didn't even move. He would like do this a bit, but that's it. Wouldn't even move. And I'm sure he could have stood there all day. Looking very peaceful. He wasn't like, he was just very peaceful. Like he really was just kind of hanging out. And something I learned, and I referred to this in one of the past shows just not that long ago, that a phrase that I received when I was sitting underneath that willow tree in the summer of 2004, learning about this meditating stuff, and that there's supposed to be something more to this world that you can experience with your 5 senses and all that kind of stuff. And I got the phrase, perfect peace, perfect stillness, perfect power. We are most powerful when we are most peaceful. And it can sound like I'm playing with words here, and I don't want to get too hung up on that. I'm just using it as labels to help explain this concept. There's strength, and then there's power. And when we take our power and we focus it, we express strength. Now, that's very different than strength that comes from a place other than peaceful. So a strength that comes, I'm just picking words, from anger, right? That's very different. Because when we're angry, and I'm just using these as labels, we're not as grounded, we're not as balanced, we're not as solid. But you see, in his case, he was very peaceful. He was very grounded. He was very solid. And then he could focus that in a display of strength. So when he took that energy and he threw a punch, man, it'd go through a brick wall. But it was coming from a place of power, because perfect peace is perfect power. And then when we focus our energies, whether it's in a physical way, whether it's in when we're manifesting, holding that picture in our mind, when we're coming from that place of peace and power, we're able to express that strength, and it's solid, and it's long-lasting, and it's unwavering. I remember him talking about how, and it was interesting because he taught martial arts, and he was kind of a cool guy. He didn't have belts or anything like that. He just taught martial arts for those who wanted to learn. That if you can get your opponent angry and you're not, he's lost. Because, and I'm just using angry as a handy label here, because they're going to be more reactive. They're not going to be grounded. So it's going to be a lot easier for him to knock him off balance. It's a lot easier for him, as in Dr. Wu, it's a lot easier for him to kind of draw him into, hey, Barb, how you doing? To draw him into a trap, if you will. Because Dr. Wu was staying in that place of peace and stillness. And here's the thing, and power. You see, and here's what people think. People think when a person is powerful, in order to be powerful, you've got to be in action. You got to be moving. You got to be doing stuff. But when you think about it, as he was standing there and that big guy was trying to push him over, he was, if you looked at the external, he was just standing there. But he was so incredibly powerful. And all he did was direct his energy to that arm. He wasn't using physical strength. He was using power. He wasn't going anywhere. And we can learn a lot from that, just even in our day-to-day living. And this is where I think what's most important to remember is it really doesn't matter what technique you use. What matters is to find the one or ones that work for you. I've said this always from the beginning. There is no one, well, keep hitting the mic. There's no one right answer. There are many right answers. There's no one right path. There are many right paths. Your job is to find a path or paths that work for you, and understanding that those paths will sometimes change. That's your job. So that, again, being in that place of perfect peace, perfect power is also when you are very, very calm. And then he would take that energy and he would focus it in his fist, bang, and he'd pop through a brick wall. But he was still peaceful. Isn't that interesting? Because he was maintaining that position of peace and power and stillness and calm. So he didn't get angry. He didn't really experience emotions. Because when you're in that place of peace, power, calm, stillness, right? It's not that you're emotionless. It's that in that place, there are no emotions. Think of it as the water on a lake. We've all seen this, where it's very calm, very peaceful. And you look at the water on the lake and it's like glass, right? It reflects the sky and the trees and stuff. Then you take a rock and you throw it in the lake and it goes sploosh, sploosh, sploosh all over the place. So now that all sorts of things are happening. And also that nice clear mirror is gone, right? Because there's splashes and stuff going on. But in a very short period of time, that water returns to that nice glassy surface. And I think that's another really good way of thinking about this is when we are in that place of peace, calm, stillness, we're not feeling any emotion. We are like that lake. We could feel emotions. We can direct it into emotions. But that steady state is one of being peaceful, of being still. Because that's what true power is. Now, you see how this can sometimes be controversial is when I kind of early on, and of course, this won't be news to any of you that have been watching me for any length of time, that I participated. One of my first formal experiences, if you want to call it that, was walking across a bed of coals barefoot, safely. Now, in that case, it was, again, really interesting. Now, when I think about it, is the exercise, Thomas Chadwick was a teacher, that he took us through was creating a meditative state where it was very peaceful. And then what we would do in this case is we would choose a physical act. Now we're going to express power. We're going to express that in a physical way. So what he suggested was we're going to go, yes. And what you're doing is you're picturing in your mind walking across this bed of coals safely. Yes. And so you're creating this physical anchor, but you're creating it from that place of peace and stillness. See how that works? So sometimes what happens is, and we're taught this, is you want to get really strong emotions, get super excited, yay, 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 rah, 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 jump, 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 jump. And that's perfect. However, if we're not coming from that place, stillness, peace, and calm, we're not going to be as grounded. And it's a lot more difficult to maintain that really high emotional state. And the second one is it's a lot easier to get tripped up, just like with martial arts. Because if he got angry, scared, whatever, right? Now he's not peaceful. Now he's not calm. Now he's disconnected himself from his true power. And now he's screwed. Now he's vulnerable. Now he's vulnerable to his opponent. So let's take this to the physical. So you're manifesting, you're creating this picture in your mind. I call it the yum-yum factor, right? Step 2 in the manifesting process. 5 steps. First step is creating a perfect desire. Second step is living it on the inside. Third step, managing resistance, which is kind of where this fits. Fourth step is taking inspired actions. And fifth step is celebrating your victories. In that third step, when you're managing obstacles, this is where you're in a fight, and it feels that way a lot. You're what do they call it? You're sparring, and it's more than that. It's a competition, a fight. Anyway. And so the external world is your opponent. And here you are. Now, when we can maintain that place of peace, stillness, power, we're not going to be Hey, Rosa, how you doing? We're not going to be reacting to anything our external world gives us. See, if we can we're not really often, I'm not saying we do this never, but we're not experiencing emotions at the moment. We're in that place of peace, stillness, just kind of floating, but very grounded. So then when this stimulus comes in that we don't like, we're not going to react to it. But when we are, in many ways, if we're angry, even if we are super excited, super this, super this, super this, it's easy to get ungrounded. And then when something does come in, it can trip us up. Now, of course, I'm not saying you never get super excited, all this stuff. That's perfect. But those are emotional experiences, as I like to call them, emotional journeys that have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Just like with our lake, where you throw the rock in, it creates all these ripples and splashes, and then returns to that steady state. I'm talking about maintaining the steady state, that state of peacefulness, calm, not reacting. And almost every teacher that I've listened to, that's one of the things they talk about. To not react. I was just listening to Neville Goddard this morning and recording, ignoring the evidence that your external physical world is telling you. So I'm going to put that another way. By not reacting to what that external experience is feeding you. To keep your balance. To not react. Yes, you're going to feel emotions. When you feel, especially that are on the not pleasurable side, the ones that create tension in your body, when that happens, you're not as powerful now. When there's tension in your body, you're sort of squeezing off that power, the ability to manifest that power. So just really, it's been my experience, second guess any of the behaviors you want to take when you're coming from that place of tension. Because they're not going to be as powerful as if, and again, easier said than done, not going to be as powerful as if you took the time to get as relaxed, as calm as you can, and then decide what you want to do. And then look at that action, that behavior, and go, okay, do I want to do this or do I not want to do this? Because any action that we take that's coming from a place, and if, it's both sides of the spectrum, whether you're super, super excited or whether you're like super, super angry, I'm just using those as words, they're not going to be as powerful as when you're in that place of peace and stillness and then you act out. Just like when Dr. Wu talked about being in a match, how if he could get that other person to, again, like anything other, get me super, super excited, hey, I'm winning, or get him mad, then Dr. Wu knew he had already won. Because he was in the place of power, the other person wasn't. And then it's not like he still wouldn't, I'll say, throw a punch. I'll just use that example. But when he did, he was still peace. He was still calm. He was directing that energy and focusing it on that target. And the same thing applies when you're manifesting. Your goal, your dream, your desire, that's your target. And when we're able to be in the presence of that target, when we're in that place of perfect peace, perfect stillness, perfect power, and then we focus our energies on that target, it's incredibly powerful. Because true power and strength are two very different things. Strength, when it comes from that place of peace, power, stillness, is incredibly effective. Strength, when it isn't, you still may do some damage, but you're going to be unbalanced, you're going to be ungrounded, and it's going to be a lot easier to trip yourself up. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. That was good. It's an interesting topic, because as I said, we're so conditioned to get super excited, gonna do this, gonna do that. Not that there isn't a place for that. When it comes to manifesting, when it comes to interacting with your external experience, especially when you're growing, expanding, and evolving, remembering that we are most powerful when we are most peaceful, when we are as calm as we possibly can be. That's when you're going to hear the best. That's when you're going to be tuned into your intuition the clearest. And that's when whatever you express is going to be the most effective. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Another episode of Ask the Wizard streaming live for September the 12th. Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Download the audio and upload it to Spotify. Go to Spotify, search for Ask the Wizard Coach. You will find me. We're good. Share, and we'll see you on the web.